Hello. Today I am talking about being alone. When I say being alone, it's not a negative thing. I don't have a negative connotation around it. I'm not talking about loneliness, although that is part of it. Being alone can be lonely sometimes. But overall, I think that being alone is really important. The reason that I'm thinking about being alone in particular right now is due to my current living situation. I'm living on campus at my university this summer to do research, and I am alone. I'm cooking all my own meals, I'm buying food with a stipend that I got for the program, and I am doing life by myself for a little while. I hope to continue this after the program. I hope to be able to rent out space in this dorm and live here the whole summer and make videos and learn to skateboard. I've been learning to skateboard. That's a lot of fun. And sort of explore myself and explore the solitary experience. Something I noticed pretty quickly was that I have a really strong desire to distract myself from the aloneness of this, from the aloneness of being alone. I have a tendency to constantly be listening to music or podcast or a YouTube video or something, just constantly doing something, constantly occupying my brain, tuning out whatever's there. And I meditate. I meditate in the morning and I meditate at night. But I don't have a lot of time, or I didn't have a lot of time during the day where I would just be doing a mundane task and be alone and be bored, And I started, after about the first week, I was getting sick of the music and the podcasts and the videos, and I was trying to find something desperately to occupy my brain, and I was like, wait, what if I just put that down for a minute and let the boredom come, let the aloneness come. And I did that, and it's been really rewarding. It's difficult, it's boring. I'm bored a lot of the time. But I find that boredom is an incredibly important force in my life and something that I've been living without for a long time. It's very easy to avoid boredom in our modern world. We have so many distractions, this thing, come on, that's powerful. The computer, music, all this stuff. There's so much around us. But I find that when I'm constantly indulging in all of this, I'm not really actively indulging in it. It's more of a passive, in the background type of thing. I don't know if I like this video so far. I don't know if I have enough to say. There's a lot of pressure from that little robot eye that I'm looking at. I'm gonna keep going. The flow of my life has pretty much been research, cooking, skateboarding, walking, meditation, and that's about it. And at first that was exciting because it was new and I was doing the whole independent thing and it was really fun. But then I started to get bored. These things started to become normal and routine and uninteresting. It became difficult to focus on my research. It became difficult to skateboard. I hurt my ankle, so that was part of why that became difficult, which increased my level of boredom because I was unable to skateboard for a few days. Being alone has been challenging, but it's so valuable. I find that I'm really getting to know myself better. I'm getting to actually hear what's going on in my head, and I'm learning about my anxiety and my sadness and sort of the roots of these things. I'm learning oh, that's what I'm thinking. A lot of times for me, anxiety is just a feeling. I get tense, I'm hyper, but I'm not conscious of the thoughts that I'm thinking that are making me anxious, really. It's more of just, like I said, the feeling. But this prolonged isolation has allowed me to actually hear those thoughts. So I'll hear myself saying, a series of kind of ludicrous, unrelated, terror-inducing thoughts, and I'll be able to say, hold on a second, let's dissect that, you know? For example, I'll have a thought that, what if this person in my life secretly hates me? And the interaction that I just had with them, or the text I just got from them, what if that was a veiled, passive-aggressive threat or attack, right? And I'll have a thought like that, and typically when I have a thought like that, I'll just kind of push it out of my head and not acknowledge it. But what I've found to be helpful is that this aloneness, this boredom, has made me more tuned into those thoughts. And so when a thought like that comes up, instead of pushing it aside, where it will go back into my subconscious and feed into the overall anxiety, I'm able to see it, I'm able to look at it and say, that's not reasonable. That's not reasonable. And that's been really helpful. That's been really useful. I've been spending a lot of time in nature. And again, typically when I'm in nature, I'll be listening to something. I'll have noise, but that's gotten old. And simply spending the time in nature, listening to the sound of the wind and the birds and the bugs, has, in some cases, actually replaced the enjoyment I got from listening to something else, which is really cool for me. I can really appreciate it. It feels almost like a dopamine detox. I didn't make any regimen around dopamine control, but that's what it feels like I'm going through in a lot of ways. And it feels like I'm taking a lot of the activities that I typically gain like the cheap pleasure from out of my life. And something that I've noticed that's been really intense is I have a lot of cravings. I have cravings for drugs and alcohol. I have cravings for social media. I have cravings for junk food. I have cravings for just food in general. I have cravings for sex. I have a lot of very intense cravings that come up because of boredom. And it's been really difficult to not feed into those. And social media especially, because it's so accessible. It's right here. All I have to do is pick this thing up, and then, an hour is gone, 2 hours are gone, 3 hours are gone. It's dangerous. And I value social media. I think it's a useful tool, right? Like this, me talking to you right here. This is incredible. However, the way that a lot of the ones on the phone are built, and YouTube, are quite problematic. What I've learned is that the more I resist those cravings, the more I'm able to enjoy things like the sound of nature and the sound of the birds and meditation and reading and doing my research. These things have more value to me in my life now because I let myself face the boredom, face the discomfort. And really my goal with this video is to talk about that and maybe inspire other people to do the same. I think being alone, being bored, is something we really overlook the value of. It's so worthwhile, and I've gained a lot from it, and maybe you can too. I'm Alice. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.